Hello and welcome to the world famous and award-winning Driving You Crazy podcast. This is the show where we talk about all things transportation, anything that gets you from here to there. I'm the traffic anchor and the transportation reporter for Denver 7 News, Jason Luber. And if you would like to be a part of the show, you always can be by calling either the listener hotline at 303-832-0217 or leaving a comment on any of my contact links, which is in the description of this fine show. And as you could probably hear, I am still fighting this cold sickness thing that I've had for weeks and weeks. And so I'm as frustrated as you are about this, but we will press on anyway. Well, I was in college about 30 years ago, and back then, if I said to my group of friends, hey, let's jump into the back of that random guy's car, and he's going to take us to the bar or wherever, they would all think I was insane. Fast forward to now, and it's commonplace to have a group of college kids especially jump into the back of an Uber or Lyft. Same kind of thing, right? Now, it's one thing to be with a group of people going for a ride, but it can be much more unnerving, to say the least, to be a single woman who's getting a ride in a rideshare, not knowing who the driver is or if that driver has some bad intentions. Now, in the past, what the girl might do is maybe text a friend or call a friend and then hope they can help out. But now, thanks to my next guest, there is an app that can help in real time connect you to people and even let them follow you along on your ride, and they could even get you in touch with help. Joining me now to talk about it is Dillon Abend. Dillon is the founder and CEO of a new rideshare safety app. It's called Third Eye, but it's spelled like this: the number 3 and then RD, a dash, and then the letter I. Sound it out, and it's Third Eye. Dillon, thanks so much for being here on the world famous Driving You Crazy podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Jason.
All right, so Dillon, you're living your best life down there at the University of Miami, and you're living the Uber life too, right? What is your major?
Yeah, so currently majoring in finance and then taking marketing and management classes as well.
And life in Miami is fun. I've been there many times, love Miami. And there's a lot of places to go and people to see and things to do. And rideshare has to be a major part of your existence, right?
Yes, actually, yeah, very big. We actually did our own case study at the University of Miami from mostly females at the University of Miami, which revealed about 90% of them took 3 or more Ubers or Lyfts a week, and 70% took 5 or more Ubers or Lyfts a week. So it's a massive part of student living, especially in Miami.
Yeah. And was there, so as we're talking about this app, was there a major incident or a story from a friend that made you think this safety issue is a problem and I have to be the one to do something about it? Because usually people act when something happens to them directly or one of their friends or family.
Yes, yeah, 100%. So I'm actually from New Jersey, and when I was in high school back in the day, I never, really took an Uber or Lyft, or it was kind of crazy to me. And my parents, they always said, you never want to get in the car with a stranger. And coming down here, it was something that my freshman year, I was taking 2, 3, 4 times even in a day. And I joined a fraternity. We had our first venue. And when we have our venues, we have, 100 to 150 maybe sorority girls come. And one of the girls I was close friends with, the first one came up to me very distraught. And when I asked what was wrong, she said that the Uber locked her in the car and wouldn't let her out until she kissed him on the lips.
Oh, wow.
And in the upcoming weeks, I kept hearing, many similar stories, and unfortunately a lot more stories that were a lot more severe. And I started asking, say, hey, this is insane. Like, I had to call with my mom. I was like, this is kind of crazy. All these incidents keep happening. There's no good solution. So I started asking around with my friends. I said, what are you guys doing to stay safe? Like, this is kind of crazy. And they said, oh, we'll do the stay on the phone with me situations where, I'm sure like many people, you call someone, you FaceTime with someone, you text with someone, hey, I'll text you when I get back safe. Or, hey, stay on the phone with me until I get back to my car. I'm walking through this parking garage. Or, hey, FaceTime me while, maybe I walk my garbage down my driveway, or, something like that. And that's really the issue we found is people are using connectivity tools as safety tools when they weren't built for that. So we worked with over 50 University of Miami students rideshare victims, even drivers, as well as families who've lost loved ones to rideshare related incidents to really curate the ultimate social safety app where you could stream and record your live video, audio, and location to friends and family of your choice through our system we call squads, which operates like group chat. So you have your family squad, friend squad, college squad, and we created a one-of-a-kind discrete emergency system where at the touch of an in-app SOS button, dispatchers receive your live video, audio, and location all silently and communicate with you over text and could dispatch police directly to your live location.
Yeah, it really is an interesting app. My guest is Dillon Abend. He's the founder and CEO of Third Eye Rideshare Safety App. You can find them at thirdeye.org. So I want you to take us through how this app really works. So let's say I'm on my phone and I have my rideshare up app, and my rideshare up, and it's ready to go. And I just selected a ride from here to there, wherever we're going. And now I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking for my driver, where because I'm looking at the license plate and what kind of car he's going to be in. And so here comes my driver. What do I do now?
Yes. So we want to change the whole culture around how people engage in transportation, specifically at night, where whether they're walking at night, taking that ride share, taking that Uber, taking that Lyft, they're going live to their family, their friend, their college squad, no matter what. And so that they, on the other side, they could see members of the squad could see and hear what's going on, interact over interactive messaging through the live stream. But from the user side, we also got the Apple entitlement to continue streaming and recording when you leave the app.
Right.
Especially,
But Dylan, I want you to go
yes.
more in depth about you are standing there at the corner and here comes your car. What do I do with my phone and the app at that point?
Yes. So you would enter the app, and then at the camera button in the bottom middle, you would click it, and it would say either go live with squad, go live with all friends, or go on a trip with the squad or all friends. A trip differentiates in which it's your live video and audio, but also your route in which you're taking to your destination. So you would go live, press either that squad that you want to go live with or your all friends, and they would get all notified that you're live. And you would continue streaming your video and audio and recording it in the car.
And all of them could watch it all at the same time, not just one
Yes.
picks up, but they all can. So you could have basically multiple live streams going at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. So you could go live with one squad or multiple squads. And each time you go live, they get alerted, hey, Dylan's live. And if I see they're not watching, I could actually click the eye in the top right of the live stream. And then it reveals a button that says nudge next to each member's name of the squad. And I could nudge them, which sends an additional notification of them to join the live stream.
So I have to hold the phone. So basically, I'm holding my phone with the app on it, and now I'm doing a
Yes.
live stream. But I have to keep the phone up either on me or recording from the back camera at the entire time.
Yes, but we also implemented dual camera, so that way, say you rest your phone on the seat when you get in, one camera will always be streaming and recording at that time.
Okay, so I have downloaded the app, and I've looked around it, and I didn't, invite any friends on the app or anything like that. So when I clicked on the camera icon at the bottom, it started the front camera, and then I switched it to the rear camera so I could see what was going on with that. And on the side, you said there are some of those buttons there, and
Yes.
on the side of the video screen, there are those icons, and one, like you said, lets you use both cameras, so you can see yourself, and then you can also see what's going on in front of you.
Yes, and you could also, if you see that shareable link, it looks like a link icon on the right side as well. When you click that link, you could even send that link to someone that doesn't have the app, and they could join your live stream from the web.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I thought it was really interesting that you could see that broadcast and that person, because I sent a link from my work phone, which is an iPhone, where I have the app downloaded,
Yes.
and I sent it to my Samsung phone, which is my personal phone, and I could see it right there on my Samsung phone without the app downloaded and see it in
Yes.
real time, which I thought that was a pretty neat feature.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So we originally built that more so. I unfortunately lost my dad. Growing up, and I wanted to come from it from the perspective of, hey, if you're a student, maybe you don't have parents, you live with your grandparents. They're not used to dealing with downloading apps, all that technology,
Yeah.
and just trying to make it as simple as possible for them, where you could just text them a link and they could just join from an iPad, a computer, or anything like that.
Yeah, so you can then get it online, right? If I wanted to watch it from my desktop or laptop.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything through that link
and
system.
it was all real time, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, there was really no lag between the broadcast and me watching the video on the other phone.
Yes. Yeah. We've been working for about 3 years just to try and get it to this point. And, we're iterating, pushing a new build every 7 to 10 days on the App Store with user feedback.
My guest is Dillon Abend. He's the founder and CEO of a rideshare safety app called Third Eye. You can find them at thirdeye.org. The safety aspect of this app that you're promoting really, though, only works if your people that are in your squad or in your group pick up their end of the line. Even if you have 50 people in there, you still have to have at least one person pick up and watch. So when you send the link to somebody to watch, what if nobody's available or nobody's watching?
Yes, definitely. So with our premium SOS feature, if you ever feel unsafe, you could press that SOS button, and dispatchers will join your live video, audio, and location. It's more meant for the discreteness in which situations in which you can't call 911 because that may put you in farther danger. Where a lot of the rideshare victims we worked with, they said the question they always get asked is, why didn't you call 911 if you believe something was going to happen? They said, hey, we're within 3 feet of the aggressor, or whether it's the driver, the passenger in that situation. We didn't want to do it. And so we wanted to create that discrete emergency system, which is made for all the situation between in which, hey, I feel unsafe, but not where it's, hey, this is an immediate emergency, and in between that gap. But also, personally, actually, the other night, one of my friends, he was taking an Uber back from Miami at 3 a.m. I was sleeping. The second I woke up at 9 a.m., I saw the notification on my phone that my friend Will was live. I clicked on that notification the second I woke up, and I could see his whole stream right there. And it's also summarized. So within a 15 to 30-second read, I could understand what that 3 a.m. Uber trip was like on the way back,
Well,
which was
that's
really
great for
cool.
the detectives that have to then go find the person who, maybe hurt your friend, right? But that's 6 hours later. If he needed help right now,
Yeah.
I would, like you said, you're going to have to do it with
Yes.
dispatchers. But if you just feel unsafe, rather than because there's a fine line between feeling unsafe and being attacked or being in a
Yes.
situation
Yes.
where, let's say, like you said earlier, somebody's locked in the car and you can't get out physically. So
Yes.
are you tying up dispatchers by being in that fine line area where you might want to be watched, but you're not really in danger right at this moment?
Yeah, so we're actually partnering with Noonlight. So Noonlight, they do a lot of like at-home security systems. So we built our system very similar to the home alarm system. So it's not, 911 or emergency
Okay,
dispatchers. It's
all right.
more of a white glove system, that through a third party.
Okay, gotcha. So you do have somebody. So it's not I'm not calling Broward County Police.
Yes. No, no, no. Yeah. So how our system works is when you press that button, after 5 seconds, they join your live stream, and then they'll text you. If you don't respond to that text after 30 seconds, they assume that, it's an emergency or something's wrong. So they call you at that 30-second mark just to make sure. And then at the 60-second mark, if they don't hear anything, they're going to dispatch police to your live location.
Okay, interesting. All right. So let's say I'm a bit of a loner, all right? And
Yes.
I feel nervous, but I don't really have a whole lot of friends and literally nobody, like, in your situation it's 3 a.m., you are dead to the world sleeping and nobody picks up. Is it then at that point the I have to rely on that dispatcher to then help me, otherwise I just have to record and hope for the best?
Yeah, if you feel like that, if you feel where, maybe, the driver, if you're a passenger in that situation, the driver's taking a lot of wrong turns and like going nowhere near where your destination is, and then yes, you would probably want to use that SOS button.
And then your friend on the other line, if it's not that dispatcher, or if it is
Yes.
the dispatcher, then your friend, you're really asking your friend on the other line that they have to pay attention. What if they're busy, they're out to dinner and they're having friends, entertaining friends or whatever. They don't really don't want to pay attention. Maybe they hooked up to you and then they put their phone down and they walk away and they're watching the football game or something, or you get disconnected. Then what do you do in those situations?
Yes, definitely. So one of like also another thing that a lot of people don't use FaceTime for is because that reason where they don't want to answer that FaceTime at 2, 3 a.m. is because they don't want to designate that time, that energy to having a talk in a conversation, designate an unknown amount of time where with our system, it's just one way streaming from the streamer. So they don't have to, interact with them if they don't want to. They just basically just have to watch. And with our picture in picture mode, which is like that small box like FaceTime, they could swipe out and continue watching that stream while maybe they watch Netflix or maybe, they do emails, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook. And in that top right corner, they could still continue seeing that live
Okay.
video now.
Because there are some Uber rides, most are pretty short, but you could be going for 20 or 30 or maybe
Yeah.
40 minutes on some of these rides, and that's a long time to ask somebody to watch your live stream.
Yes. Yeah. The average ride is around, depending on in what city you're in, about 17 to 22 minutes.
Yeah. Using the live video obviously eats up a lot of battery on your phone. And let's say most kids, they're not always having 100% on their phone or even
Yes.
80%. Let's say there's 40% because they're using it all the time. And so you have 40%, and now I'm going to try to stream and use my rideshare app, and maybe I'm doing texting in the car in the rideshare. It seems like this could really kill the battery pretty quickly. Is that a concern for you guys with people using the app?
Yes, yeah. So we're optimizing as much as possible. So the dual camera, we do have a warning there that says, hey, dual camera, may increase battery usage. So how our dual camera works, because it's simultaneous, it's streaming it's basically regular streaming times two. So that we find that usually uses with the dual camera point, point 0.7 to 1% a minute, where a single camera could be as little as 0.3% to 0.5% a minute. So having, trying to reduce the battery consumption as much as possible, because that is, a major thing that I wanted to conquer, in which, the average Uber trip, say, is, 17 to 20 minutes. We really don't want to use, more than 5 or 7% of your battery during that trip,
Yeah.
which in the grand scheme of things isn't that much, but especially, at late at night, usually when your phone is probably around 30 to 40%, it could be a lot. So we're doing everything we can.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can I use this anywhere in the country, and even maybe outside the country?
Yes. Yeah. So currently, yeah, anywhere in the US. So we actually implemented the question we get asked all the time is, hey, like, this is a huge privacy issue. How are you combating that? And in our settings mode, in broadcast, we have a toggle where you could choose toggle on or off the recording. So 38 out of your 50 states, are one party consent. But the rest are two-party consent. And, currently it is, a gray area for, recording on, technically public roads if you're in a contractor's car. But, with that toggle, we leave it up to the user to say, hey, know your local laws, your local regulations, toggle on or off that recording. It's all up to you. And just trying to make them aware and then giving them that ability to follow those regulations or laws in their area.
Because often drivers will have a camera in their car, both a dash
Yes.
cam facing forward and in the cabin, and maybe sometimes multiple cameras in the cabin of the Uber. So recording the conversation, I think, would be an interesting legal issue from you're recording them, but you didn't ask them to be recorded. Do you have a warning somewhere or suggest to the people who are using your app that once they get in the car, you might say to the driver, hey, I'm recording this ride?
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, we have upon user sign up, we say, hey, know your local laws, your local regulations. As it does, it varies state to state where, like I said, like in most states, it is just one party consent. But some states it is that two-party consent. But in a lot of times you order like an Uber right now, it's to say, hey, driver may be recording, your video and audio on a dash cam, be aware of that. And, we come from the standpoint of, when we get asked that question is, do you think it's fair where the driver could record you for their safety, but the passenger can't record you for their safety?
Yeah.
That doesn't really make, too much sense from that side. I think it should be, equal when we get asked that question.
Because it's already an odd situation where a rider and a driver meet for the first time. They're totally unfamiliar with each other, and from the rideshare driver's perspective,
Yes.
it might make them feel uncomfortable or make them feel guilty before doing anything. I know
Yes.
there are, obviously, we're on camera all the time when we're walking around anywhere. I mean, there are cameras everywhere, right? Could this be maybe too intrusive to the driver? Not and asking, hey, say, look, you know, and getting that person to maybe feel a little uncomfortable that they're in their own personal vehicle and now they're being recorded by somebody else.
Yes. No, yeah, that's a great question. And our system, we just didn't build for the passenger, but for the driver too. About 40% of the rideshare incidents that occur are against drivers. And they were also like in most Ubers I get into in Miami at 2, 3 a.m., they're also on FaceTime for that same stay on the phone with me solution. So we built this for them as well. But in terms of them, feeling uncomfortable about, being recorded, we want to take it we we don't want to go against ride sharing or anything like that and say, hey, this is so dangerous, don't do it. We want to enhance the experience and ultimately drive these rideshare companies more rides and more revenue by creating a safer experience at the end of the day and really be a win-win-win for everyone. And hopefully, with this system in place, people do act a lot different when they know they're being recorded or streamed and on camera. And, having that, we believe it will actually reduce a lot of the incidents that we're seeing, especially in the Miami area, and hopefully bring that, to a grand scale across the U.S.
Interesting. Have you heard from Uber or Lyft, their corporate offices, about your app and how it's being used?
Yeah, so we did get in touch with someone on the Uber development team a couple weeks ago, and we proposed a pilot program for them down in Miami, so that this way we could say, hey, for 3 months, we would love to do a partnership that's push this out everywhere, that's collect the data to show, which we believe will decrease incidents, increase rides for you, and create a better environment for everyone. So we haven't heard back from them on yet, but we sent over that proposal.
Where maybe you are on the Uber app and then your feature then pops up where then it's easily used in the Uber app or the Lyft app, right?
Yes, yeah. So it would say, hey, you ordered your ride, stay safe with Third Eye, and then the user would just click on that button, and then it would take them directly to the app and start that live stream. But also even for Uber Eats deliverers as well.
Yeah.
Really everyone is feeling unsafe and using FaceTime to stay safe when they're delivering 2, 3 a.m. and we want to solve that issue for deliverers as well.
Yeah, my guest is Dillon Abend. He's the founder and CEO of Third Eye. It's a rideshare safety app that you can download right now. Is it only for iPhones or also for Android phones?
Yes, just for iPhones now, and we're hoping to release the Android version in about 2 to 3 months.
It's interesting that you said the food delivery folks, because obviously they're in their car, they're safe. There's nobody going to get in their car except for the food, and I don't think they're going to be attacked by French fries. But when they're but then when they're going from the car to a door, there are dogs in the way, or fences, or whatever kind of equipment, or a drunk guy that just wanted his hamburger. So,
Yeah.
are they using it in that way where they're holding their phone and then going up to the door and using it to record that interaction?
Yes. Yeah. And I think, it's extremely critical for them, to have some sort of safety tool like Third Eye because, they're going up. And one of the biggest things is, a lot of times they don't have a uniform.
Yeah.
So it just looks like, hey, this random, and depending on how big the bag they're delivering is, hey, this random person is trespassing in my neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
Oh no, let me get involved. Let me stop this. And, people around you, if they're not in uniform, don't really know any better because they don't, a lot of times from what we see down here in Miami, they don't have any signage. And I've even been in a couple situations where one of my roommates will order Uber Eats at 2, 3 a.m. We're getting knocks on the door. Sometimes even we had one person like open the door and drop it in. And like, we don't communicate with each other, unfortunately, in a text group chat, say, hey, I just ordered Uber Eats at 3 a.m. Be aware someone may, drop it off, even open the door a little, throw it in. It's a big, danger for deliverers, because of the unknown and, unfortunately, not having that signage on them to show everyone around.
Yeah, it seems like this could be used in almost any situation, from obviously these deliveries or riding in an Uber, but there are a lot of people, single women especially. We've heard about it in New York City and other large cities where they're out for a jog and then they're
Yes.
attacked. So you could use it in those situations too, where you're using your phone and using your Third Eye app to let somebody know that you're on that jog and they could follow along with you, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we wanted to take it a step farther and not, just conquer ride sharing, but all transportation. We actually had a lot of people using it for Ultra, that were taking the metro, on the most recent festival in Ultra, to and from Coral Gables to downtown Miami. And when they're coming back, they took like the 12:30 train back to Coral Gables. They were streaming, while on the metro. And we had a couple testers right now using in Miami for busing, late at night as well. And as well as, walking down the street late at night in a parking garage, really any transportation situation, you name it. We found that our app could really solve that gap.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. I know it's early in the process, but
Yes.
has your app already helped somebody in a dangerous or uncomfortable situation where they were able to hit the dispatch, or one of their people watching the stream were able to get them help?
Yes, yeah. So we actually had our first use case from my good friend actually here in Miami. He was in the back of an Uber, and then he actually had people surround the car. The driver unfortunately didn't speak English, so people surrounded the car, were trying to get into the car, and I was on stream with him. He was streaming, and he was telling the driver, "Go, go, go." The driver was, in shock
Sure.
as the people were trying to get in the car. And in that situation, I was messaging him through the interactive messaging and said, "Hey, they're trying to get in the car, press that SOS emergency button right now." Luckily, they, after 2 minutes, the driver snapped out of it and got away. But yeah, I recently used the SOS button as well, for uh, actually myself, in Miami, for to get dispatchers to this scene they needed to get to. And the good thing about us is, when you press that SOS button, they receive that exact location and that address that you're at. Where a lot of times, kind of how Noonlight was started as well, is when you call 911, sometimes you don't get the right dispatching center. So on the back end, they're talking with another dispatching center, another one, and it could be kind of crazy on from the back end side of it.
Oh, sure. And the people who are watching, they can hear you and they can see you, but they cannot interact except through the text messaging, right? So let's
Yes.
say let's say I'm watching your broadcast because you're in a car, and I can then text you, but then you could actually reply to me by
Yes.
talking or just showing the video. You don't have to even text back.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you could, how we've been testing around Miami is, a friend will text, in the message, and then I'll reply to it verbally, and then he would text back. And they could also use voice to text, so they don't actually have to text it out. They could just press that microphone, and then it will, create that lettering for them and the words.
My guest is Dillon Abend. He's the founder and CEO of Third Eye. It's a safety app for all kinds of transportation. You can find them at Third Eye, the number 3rd-i.org. I'm sure there has to be a cost to this, right? So what is the cost? Well, when I downloaded the app, I'm able to use it for free right now, but it also had some costs associated with it. So what are the costs, and can I just use it for free?
Yes. So we give the users a 30-minute free trial. They have access, actually, to all first users have access to our premium features besides that emergency feature. So that emergency feature is a premium feature you have to subscribe for, and you could either do pay as you go, where you could buy, another 100 minutes for $3.99, or you could subscribe to a feature, or to a subscription. That's our $5.99 feature or subscription, gets you 100 minutes of streaming a month, and you get that premium SOS feature. So the subscription comes with all the emergency features, and we do our subscriptions based on the amount of streaming minutes. So our 13.99 comes with 250 minutes, and then also all the premium features. And then we also have our 24.99 that comes with 500 minutes, and then our 47.99, which is the ultimate plan, and that comes with 1,000 minutes.
1,000 hours is, or 1,000 1,000 minutes, right?
Yes.
That's a lot of hours of video.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, is somebody using it that much?
Yeah, so we created that plan more for, if you're a driver or you're a deliverer, in which
Oh, okay.
you're working every day.
Gotcha. All right, I understand. So, do you have to make those costs because of video storage or streaming? Are the
Yes.
costs to you for the streaming?
Yes, yeah. So our biggest costs, are the streaming, the recording, the storage of that stream, as well as we have to pay our emergency dispatchers. So that's why, we have to make that a premium feature.
And it must have taken loads of time and obviously money to get to the point you are now. So, how has that process been to really create your own business and not just a safety app, but you have to figure out this cost because there are costs associated with live streaming and hosting video.
Yes. Yeah. So when I came up with it my freshman year, I approached a friend, kind of just posted a Snapchat story, said, "Hey, I have this good idea. Would love, to bring someone on to invest in me." And one of my friends, swiped up on that, texted me, and we spent about 15,000 creating the MVP, um, in which we just kind of got interest from. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is a cool idea. I would like to see this develop farther." And then we I raised a $250,000 friends and family round, and we had a couple angel investors in there. And then since then, we won a $10,000 grant from U Miami, as well as a $100,000 investment award. And then recently won the Harvard pitch competition
Wow.
on campus. And then last night, actually, was one of the winners of the business competition for 15,000. And then we're currently raising, or we're about to close our seed round of about 1.5 million.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. That takes a lot of effort. And you, you go to school for one thing, and then it turns into something else, right?
Yes. Yeah. Kind of a crazy change of my career
Circumstances
path.
and fortune, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Well, why do you have a .org domain and not .com?
Yes. So yeah, that's a great question. So when I made that domain when I was I think a junior in high school, and we grew up where anytime we were taught, anytime you see a .org, you could trust it. And I after further research, I found 90% of .orgs are mostly nonprofits,
Yeah.
but 10% of that aren't, are somewhere around that safety aspect. So that's our reasoning for it. I do think we have to probably get maybe another domain because we aren't a nonprofit,
Right.
but more so around the safety brand.
Yeah,
Of it.
it's pretty interesting. There's a feature here that I'm interested in as a broadcaster,
Yes.
especially in the traffic realm of what I do, because I didn't figure out but I didn't figure out on the app yet how it works. So maybe a dozen years, or I'll go back here, take you back about a dozen years. I came up with this
Yeah.
way to show a driver live on their streaming. So I would have a streaming video from their phone as they're driving. It was a car, a mount on their windshield, so you could, just like a dash cam, right? But you're
Yes.
using video streaming from their phone. And then the
Yes.
same guy would use another app at the same time that actually would send their real-time GPS location to me. And then I had a desktop where I would do a split screen where I would have his live video on one side, and then the live GPS location where it was a map and you could see the arrow of where they were on the other side. And so I would show that on television to say, hey, look, this person is right here along this highway at this intersection, and you could see what the road conditions are like at that time. I thought it was
Yes.
pretty brilliant, and this was a dozen years ago, right? But
Yeah.
it looks like your app, because I was looking at the video that you show on your website, but it looks like your app can do that as well, but in a less clunky way that I did. I'm sure you've added that feature as another layer of safety. But have you thought about somebody like me, who's in the broadcasting industry, who does morning TV broadcast, and would love to use a feature like that to show people's driving and where they are and put it on television?
Yes. Yeah, we just thought that was a great idea. You had, such a long time ago. That was amazing. But yeah. So we definitely looked into it more, especially after Ultra, because we had a lot of people that were using the app as more of a connectivity tool and kind of like a live streaming platform, that were, streaming from different angles of the festival to their friends and family. And so I think, that is a great aspect, we would want to do as well. And then I actually did, my cousin, he went to Penn State, and I drove out there when I was home in a bad winter storm. And, my mom was calling me up every 15 minutes saying, "Hey, how's the roads? What's going
Yeah.
on?" And then I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, I had the phone mount. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, let me just, stream my trip, kind of like a dash cam.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went into activated trip mode. So she got notified. Dillon started there was like an hour and a half trip to Penn State. So she joined that, and she could see the route that I was taking, where I was along that route,
Yeah.
and the live view directly, through the windshield. And she got notified as well when I arrived safely.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It really is an interesting, but is that something that you would maybe consider broadcasters using, or have you even approached a broadcaster? Or is this the first you've really heard of this kind of usage?
I did think about it, but yeah, kind of first I've heard of it, and I love the idea. I've been trying to, for the past couple minutes, trying to think about on the back end how that would work. Um, but yeah, I think it is. I think it could be where, it's another button, and then
Yeah.
it would connect you with, when you would press that button, connect you with the newsroom, and send, like, similar to
Yeah.
sending the SOS stream to the dispatchers. It would send your stream to the newsroom.
Right.
So yeah, I
Because you
think it
could
is.
almost do it also as a fleet. I mean, you could have whether it's a plumbing and electric company that has a fleet of vehicles. They could, when they get in their truck, it maybe is even not on a phone, or maybe they have some kind of a dedicated phone that's already mounted in their car. They hit the
Yes.
button, they start the app, they hit a button, it sends it to their dispatch unit, whether it's a trucking company or any company, and then they can watch that live stream and where they are at the same time. It seems like a no-brainer.
Yes. Yeah, there's a ton of different use cases, and we're trying to, play around with all of it and
Sure.
see, where it's where to focus on first, and then, expand out from there.
Have you mentioned that people were using it as a way to stream from a show? Have you had that, like people trying to do live shows, or use it as like live TikTok or YouTube videos?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple yeah, we had about 50 beta testers before we released it. And yeah, we had some people that were streaming, experiences, rather than, needed safety concerns. We had one of my friends, he was at, a presentation, and I asked for him to stream. I wanted to see everything that was there. And then we had another friend recently who he got a text. He was in the back. It was a big convention. He said, "Where are you? Where are you?" And he kept sending the pin, but his friend was like, "I can't see your pin." And he just went live. He's like, "Just join my live," and then showed where he was, in the convention center,
Yeah,
and was able to find him pretty quick. But yeah, definitely a ton of different use cases,
sure.
which is, it's always fun to see everyone kind of being creative with those use cases.
But on a YouTube live or a TikTok live, something like that, anybody
Yeah.
could see, random people could see it. In
Yeah.
your case, you actually have to send it to specific people if you want it. You can't just broadcast it to the world.
Yes, yeah, it's more privatized. We wanted to be kind of put ourselves in between, like an Instagram and a Life 360
Yeah.
in a way, where it's not as private as, it's just your very close family or friends, in a Life 360, but it's not as public as like an Instagram, and kind of merging the gap between the two by, making safety social is our tagline. We made safety fun by making it social.
But they're still limited. What, that 1,000 minutes, right? I mean, that's really the
Yes.
highest you can go.
Yeah, that's the highest. Yeah.
Yeah, so you really can't do any of those big things. So what's next for you? What's next for the app? Where do you go from here over the next 6 months, year, 5 years? Where do you see yourself then?
Yes. Yeah, so we're currently working on building out, making the app as easy to use as possible. So we all recently implemented movement detection notifications. So that actually detects if you're in a car or if you're walking, and you could set your time period. So between the hours, we have it defaulted between the hours of 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. If it senses you're moving, you're to get notified directly from your lock screen to go live. So you could go live in as little as 2 taps directly from your lock screen. So over the next month, we're really trying to make it the most easiest to use, simplest platform, and also increase our onboarding experience to also, give the user as much learnings as possible. And then our 2 month plan is we're currently building out a crime map as well, in which we partnered with a company to implement their real time crime map to be able to show, on a heat map kind of scale
Yeah.
on the map section of that, the higher crime areas in most recent months.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you see, do you know how many users you would like to see over the next year or 2 or 5?
Yes. Yeah. So we estimate in about 3 to 4 months we should be seeing about 500 to 600,000 users. And then we partnered. So how we get out there is we partner with large companies, brands, or enterprises, to increase their customer loyalty, brand image, and ultimately drive more revenue to them. As partnering with a safety company, a lot according to the statistics, usually increases those numbers about up to 20%. And they have very large followings. So in the upcoming weeks on social media, people will start to see those partnerships in real life.
Well, yeah, it's fascinating, and I'm glad I got to talk to you now before you're some kind of a big shot, running all kinds of stuff there, and you're probably running the entire state of Florida. So,
Oh, maybe one day.
yeah, right, exactly. Dillon Abend, founder and CEO of Third Eye rideshare safety app. You can find them at thirdeye.org. I have a link in the description of the show. Dillon, all the best. Thank you for your time. It's really fascinating, and I hope it's a super big success.
Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate everything.
And again, you can find them at Third Eye on the App Store for your Apple phone, but not yet for your Android phone. But as Dillon said, that will be coming eventually. Again, it's Third Eye app, so it's 3RD-I, and you do that search in the App Store for Apple phones, and then it'll come right up. And again, like I told Dillon, I've tried it. I think it's pretty interesting. I do like that feature, and I talked to him a little bit after the interview about that feature where you're able to send video and the location, because I think there are a lot of applications for that. For not just what I do and what I tried to do about a dozen years ago with showing somebody's drive as they're coming in across a commute and then show their location at the same time. But a fleet, let's say you have a fleet of plumbers or electricians or whatever, and you're able to see, or even how about bus drivers? How about a transit system where you have all of the buses that are equipped with some kind of a device that can broadcast their video and location at the same time. There probably already are things like that, but this is a really easy way to do it for maybe a fleet, and then be able to, so they could see, like the truck driving place that I talked to. What was that, last year? That they do but they do dash cams, and I think they can see them live. Maybe not. Anyway, I thought that part was really fascinating. And there's always updates that Dillon is doing, and he said he's working on it all the time. So it's pretty interesting. You go to college for one thing, and it turns into something totally different. I'm sure this is going to take off, and I'm real sure it's going to be very popular and quite useful for a lot of folks. It's just going to take some time for more people. And once you start hearing about it more in the news, then it's going to start taking off like wildfire. I'm sure of it. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, issues, then let me know. You can always contact me on any of the contact links that are in the description of this show. That's where you can find all the information also about Dillon and that Third Eye app. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'm Jason Luber, the traffic guy. Be safe, and as always, happy motoring.